Greetings in such disaster. Here tonight we're going to do a special review on, maybe it's not such a review, but I'm going to talk about the Child's Play series. They are my favorite of all time. Why? Because they're the best, alright? So you have the creator Don Mancini, who started working on a story about the killer doll. Somewhere, I think he wrote the first screenplay, Blood Buddies, around 1985, and it took years, to develop and before it turned into Child's Play. Originally it was supposed to be a doll that would bleed when you play with them too rough, and Andy Barclay was supposed to make blood pact with him, and that's how he become alive, and the child's rage is what was supposed to kill originally. But anyway, that never manifested and never existed, so what we do have is a perfect movie, beginning with a homicide detective chasing Charles Lee Ray down to the south side of Chicago, gunning him down. Von Bash and Van Buren, I'm on the Strangler. And, he gets shot down. He transfers his soul into a good guy doll in toy store. And, I'm not going to sit here and talk about what happened in the movie. You have to go watch the movie if you have not seen it, which you should have already. It used to give many nightmares, and then they become obsessed with it later on. The review. I'm very annoyed that they already made it, it's come out in a few days, the remake of Child's Play, because I thought it strange because they just came out with The Cult of Chucky, which was an amazing film. So why would they be rebooting it? Why would you reboot or remake something that's already perfect and still going on? It's because of money, of course. Always with the money. They're trying to make a profit off of whatever they can. They feel like they already have built-in audience, so why not? Anywho, any why, anywhere, any when. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Abde due dembla. Vortige child. Who's a midwife de mort. Okay, so Don Mancini, the creator of the Child's Play franchise, which is still continuing on, starring Brad Dourif, they're all against the remake, but they remake it anyway. And I say to myself, I'm not going to support this. I'm not going to give them $1 trillion to dime to support this film, although I want to see it. Not going to lie, it looked pretty good. The bastards put Audrey Plaza, my dream woman, in it, one of the strangest, funniest actresses you can imagine. And then what do? They take Mark Hamill and put him as the voice of Chucky. So how can we refuse Mark Hamill and Audrey Plaza? You bastards! And it looked pretty good. The Chucky doll looks stupid. I think it's really stupid that you don't have Charles Lee Ray anymore. That's one of my favorite characters. You have this voodoo serial killer from Jersey with that perfect voice and his attitude towards killing, and you're just going to make it like a fucking iPhone good guy doll that look more like a Buddy doll. Very direct to the Buddy dolls of the 1980s in the third dimension. So anyways, I want to see it, but fuck the people who made it. It's because they first won through United Artists, something with somebody buying out another portion of the company, something to do with Australia, and then a person died, so then they ended up having to go to MGM with the rest, which is a good thing now. Otherwise they could probably be remaking the rest of them too, but I don't think they can do it this way. But the 1988 Child's Play film is a perfect film in itself, with from the serial killer to start off to the eyes of Chucky. You don't even know. You don't even see him for a while. You start to wonder, is it Andy going crazy or what's going on here? I know. So you have the first Child's Play in 1988, which is a beautiful classic with Charles Lee Ray. No, don't leave me, Auntie, don't leave me! You run into the toy store. Oh God, I'm dying. I'm gonna get you for it! I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get Eddie, no matter what! Gotta find someone. Gotta find somebody. And then, you look over, you fall over, they look over, you see the good guy doll, you kind of laugh. They do it, Dembala, Mortiz, yabba dabba doo. and bolt the lightning. That's this, you know, beautiful special effect that I bear. It do not get much better than that. Well, the film gets much better than that scene, but you hear that, Chucky? They're going to put me away if you don't say something. Come on, Chucky, tell me. Tell me why you lied to me about everything. You punch him in the stomach. I'm not even high on catnip, I swear, I quit this shit. Except for last night, and 5 minutes ago. You stupid bitch, you filthy slut, I'll teach you to fuck with me. I used to be terrified of Chucky when I was a small feline creature. When I would journey over into the third dimension to watch these horror films, it used to creep me out. Eventually I became obsessed, and I would create the good guy dolls, Chucky dolls. I would sit inside while the other cats were out in the alleyway playing, or playing in the park climbing trees. I was inside sewing Chucky dolls, drawing them on the computer, and then re-storyboarding them all into comic book form with graphite pencil. The late 1980s, early 1990s, I feel like were sort of like the epitome for beautiful film. Like, movies just started to suck after the mid-90s or something. The 1940s, late 1980s, early 1990s, you have the best horror and sci-fi films, if not just film in general. Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2. When you're young and you watch it, it makes sense, but it's pretty funny in retrospect when they're reassembling the Chucky doll from scratch. You have those beautiful city shots of Chicago before it was all like dumped money and they changed it, it all modernized and all that. Hey, maybe that's why they stopped filming in Chicago. Andy Barclay ended up in orphanage, of course. His mother taken away. I guess Catherine Hicks just didn't want to do the film, or maybe that's how they wrote it, I don't know. I could read about it, but I probably will after I film it. So this is the film where I got a detention because I was not allowed to stay, god damn it. And I quoted to my friend, "Open the goddamn door!" when he locked in the closet at school, and then he eventually, you know, beat the teacher to death with a yardstick, which makes sense. You could do it, I bet. You know, she was old, perhaps she had heart attack. Child's Play 2, it might be my second favorite, I don't know. It's a pretty goddamn good film. Again, nobody believe anybody but Andy. He looked really crazy, he looked like a real problem child here. Chucky almost get his soul into the body of the boy, but he too late. You have the really cool scene at the end where they're running through the good guy doll factory, and you have just like mazes upon mazes with dolls stacked high, and then they're going to the conveyor belts, and Chucky loses his hand and he stick a knife on and he's trying to cut off Andy's legs. It's great. We have the introduction to the character Kyle, played by Christine McCarthy, who's super awesome character, who we get a glimpse at the end of the most recent one, Cult of Chucky. So you're like, yes, she's back to kick some serial killer doll ass. We have the introduction to the character Kyle, played by Christine McCarthy, who's super awesome character, who we get a glimpse at the end of the most recent one, Cult of Chucky. So you're like, yes, she's back to kick some serial killer doll ass. Child's Play 3. The dolls stay pretty juicy when that crane come to pick him up and the blood all fall inside. Also the plastic stay pretty good too for it being 10 years later. Most people don't like Child's Play 3 as much as the others. It's definitely not my least favorite. It's pretty cool the way... It's just a new take. They're at the military school. You got the Justin Valen from Lois and Clark playing Andy Barclay. That's the only drag really, is like you don't have Alex Vincent as Andy Barclay, but you know, when they started filming just a few months after they released the second one, you can't really expect a child to go through such a growth spurt, to go from 8 to 16. And anyway, I lost my train of thought. So, we got Andy Barclay in military school. He's got his crush on, what's her name, Kristen, Sylvia, I think that's her last name. I haven't watched these movies. Actually, I just watched them 2 years ago. I watched them actually all twice in a row. I watched them all in Detroit, and then I went to Los Angeles and watched them all again. Why? Because they're the best fucking horror franchise there is. But then you got Tyler, who is kind of like the cheesy, in awe. A lot of people hate that character, but he's funny to me. Charles, they're playing. I've been singing Ali Oxenfree. Would you quit calling me that? Alright, that terrible little impersonation. You got the jerk actor. I can't think of the actor name, but the boot camp kid who's like leading, who's the bully, is the same guy who played Tom from Girl Interrupted. He plays the mental institute in Girl Interrupted, where he plays a nice, much nicer character. But he's good being a dickhead in the Child's Play 3. I forget the dork guy's name who saved everybody when he jump on the grenade and it explode. I thought it was pretty clever too when he like take all the bullets out of the paintball and put the real bullets in. I'm not sure if you can actually do that, but hey, it worked for a killing good time in the film. And then the death scene is what I love the most about Child's Play 3. When they go into the carnival and they ride in the spooky ride, and you get that the big Grim Reaper just like whoosh, chop off Chucky's face, and you see all that beautiful half doll, half real person guts, bloods inside. It's like a nightmare I had once where I looked at my leg and it would look just like Chucky's face, minus the eyeball, when it gets cut off by Grim Reaper. Why would they have such a dangerous thing on a ride for people at the carnival? Because the ripped was script. The rush was script. The script was rushed. You fall into the giant blade, which is another hazard you would not really want to have on your rides. Think of all the people that probably fell in there too. Anyways, one thing I did notice is the way Chucky gets chopped up in that. Well, first of all, second of all, third of all, 14th and 15th and 16th of all, he completely get obliterated in that fan, so he'd be in much smaller pieces when the following film, Bride of Chucky, happened. But the way his face get cut off make no sense for Bride of Chucky when Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany Valentine stitch him back together. Meow, I remember when Bride of Chucky came out, I thought it was sort of a stretch, like this ain't believable compared to the first three. But it actually probably my second or third favorite, maybe. I don't know. It's another good one. It's a lot more funny. You get the amazing, beautiful Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany Valentine, which I don't even think she had her last name at that point yet. Just that opening scene where she slit the cop's throat in the car and licks the blood off of it. It's so fucking badass. And you have Rob Zombie, Living Dead Girl playing. It's beautiful. Beautiful intro. Maybe my second favorite intro. You know, they get in a scuffle about, oh, I thought you were going to marry me. It's Vivian Van Pelt. I dumped her in the river, remember? And, you know, transfer her soul into the bride doll. They start bickering. You got the two dolls. The thing you could obviously tell that they added into the film, which was not there before, was the heart of Damballa. There was no necklace around Charles Lee Ray's neck before, but hey, you need to go. We got to go to Hackensack, New Jersey and dig up his corpse. So then you get the Studley, I forget his name, guy in the Jesse, I can't think of the actor name. The hot trash trailer park guy. Him and Jane get the... That shit's good, just like all the subplots they got going on between their relationship and John Ritter, rest in pieces. Being the jerkwad uncle, police officer, cop, pig, who trying to ruin everything for them, and it's fucking up Chucky and Tiffany's plan to get to Hackensack, New Jersey, so they have to kill all these cops and people. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything that happened in the film. It's just the death scenes are absurd. You got the nails in the face. Here I am telling you everything that happened in the film. The RV flip on over. That was 1998. The Seed of Chucky. Originally I had written a script by hand, which I think would have been much better. Instead of Seed of Chucky, it was more about, it was these two kids, about 10-year-old, 11-year-old. Andy Barclay happened to be their uncle to marriage, their aunt's husband or whatever. And they live in New Jersey, and they come across the blood trail and the dead dolls from the cemetery. They find the heart of the mala. They go to a library, they're looking through books about Haitian voodoo and whatnot. They have their own good guy doll. They end up reviving Chucky into a new good guy doll, and the child, the son of Chucky, running around, and Andy comes over and ends up being, they're all trapped inside the house type of situation, and I actually never finished it. Anyways, Seed of Chucky, it's my least favorite, but it's pretty fun. You basically want to be baked on catnip if you're going to watch this one. It has lots of clever parts, and it's pretty great actually what they do with Glenn or Glenda, with that homage to Ed Wood, and it's just good for it being like sort of a non-binary type of setting of like this child being like, because of his parents or the world around him, he's just very confused about his identity. First you think he's Japanese, and then he's expected to be a guy or a girl. I said he, but you know, fucking whatever. It also has, you know, they talk about the homicide. It talks about a lot of good shit. The homicidal, I don't know if I want to be bad, I want to be good. Try to set the example, it's funny, you got all the Hollywood stuff, you got the Britney Spears in there, you got the Redman in there. It's a fun film, although it's terrible. That's 2004, that's my opinion, which is usually correct. Then you don't see, you have another gap for a few years until 2013. When they decided to go independent and start filming in Vancouver, I believe. I was not sure what to expect when I first put it on, but The Curse of Chucky. It take the series back to be more serious type of horror film, and the soundtrack is much different from the other ones. The cinematography is done in a more unique way. I love the cinematography in the other films, but the two newer ones have a style to them. Within Curse of Chucky, we get introduced to a whole new family. We get Fiona Dorff in here playing Nika, and it takes us back to some more of the origins of Chucky when he was still a human being, which I loved. I thought was great and beautiful, and it makes Nika look like she crazy, like she the killer. At the end, and then after the credits, you get Andy Barclay reintroduced. You get Tiffany reintroduced. I would probably say that The Curse of Chucky is perhaps my second or third favorite. Any hoot without the holler. The Cult of Chucky. You got to love any film set inside of a psychiatric hospital. There's just some sort of novelty about it, even though hopefully they're not as fucked up as they used to be, although I'm pretty sure they are. I've had friends and family in them many times, and it's not the greatest place to be, I'll tell you that. I make sure I stay away from those, even though oh no, that's probably where I belong. So you get Andy Barclay. It opened up with Andy Barclay actually on a date. And what do you know? Alex Vincent, he's still a good actor. I not see him in any films since he was 8-year-old, but he good actor. He pulled it off. He do a good job. Makes sense. You see, he live isolation in his cabin. All of his guns and weapons everywhere. He's a hunter. They keep dropping all these clues from previous films. He's smoking a joint with. And then the interesting thing in this one is you start to see. Well, we get back to Nico. I'm not doing like a synopsis, but. Smart, she's kind of just like, what the fuck is my life? Alright, here, she's trying to be serious. She's trying to learn how to function surrounded by people who are actually have mental issues going on, where they have multiple personalities, or they can't let go of the death of their baby, and all sorts of different things. So anyway, anyhow, any meow. Too many furballs. We have some interesting death scenarios. It's great to see Andy back. So you got the Andy and the Nico. And then of course, walk in. Tiffany Valentine. You just have to love her vibe of like, oh, Alice is dead. It's so fucked up but funny. I just love to peer into the minds of these serial killers. And then the other great thing at the end. So at first I thought, and I still probably think, alright, now he had multiple dolls. It's getting a little ridiculous. But then I'm thinking, alright, we're watching a movie about killer dolls. It's the 7th sequel. It's okay to be ridiculous at this point. You know, it can still be serious, it can still be scary. But it's okay if there's, 8 Chucky dolls walking around at once. It makes sense, why not? VoodooForDummies.com. That creepy fucking doctor, I was so glad when he got his fucking head stomped in. Yeah, the end was like, I was really excited to see, alright, Charles Ray, he's a fucking human again. It's Fiona Dorff basically playing a character that her father's been playing now, so that's what's interesting. Drive Away with Tiffany Valentine, and there's 2 of her now too. So this is just completely batshit crazy, cat shit bonkers, and they have the television series coming out, the Chucky series, which is going to be on Sci-Fi, one of my favorite stations since they've existed. Very jealous. I got to be a part of that somehow. Like, this is like my dream come true. If I could do that. Just have anything. I don't even care. I'll fucking bring coffee or some shit. A few days from now, you got the Child's Play remake coming out, and Don Mancini, Brad Dourif, who have been there through every single film, are like, what the fuck, basically. They didn't say that, but they're not cool with it. Jennifer Tilly expressed like, this is not, no. Everybody against the film, so it's just like fucking money-making greedy assholes who have zero respect for the artist. It kind of made me mad that Mark Hamill and other clowns do it, but because they're involved, I'm going to have to go see it. But I'm not going to pay a goddamn dime, I'll tell you that, meow. This is my terrible review or opinion, whatever. Oh, by the way, check out the link below for there's a spoof from Death Cat Comics hosted by yours truly. A spoof of the Child's Play series that was written back in the 1990s but remade recently called Chunky. There's a cross between Chucky and the Blob. One of those dolls you feed, just don't feed him your finger. That's actually a true story of the Cabbage Patch doll. Chucky originally was based on people's craziness over the Cabbage Patch dolls. And they also had a Cabbage Patch dolls once that bit somebody's finger out and pooped it out. And that happened in the Chunky comic, so check out Death Cat Comics too.